Good evening. Welcome to the Living in Utah live question and answer session here on Thursday evening. I host this every Thursday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. That would be approximately 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Or if you're on the California coast, it would be 7 p.m. This is a opportunity. There's nothing planned, nothing rehearsed, to ask any kind of questions you want, whether it's on the state of Utah, real estate, or the United States, whatever you want to talk about. Some people have been talking about college football, so I always enjoy that also. It's been a great week in the state of Utah. We had a little bit of cooler weather at the beginning of the week, and that has now warmed up a little bit. So we are seeing probably 60-degree temperatures, mid-60s, somewhere around there. It's been nice into this week. So earlier in the week, we got some rain, which was much needed. We have been in a drought. So I do this on Thursday evenings. I love the state of Utah. I think it's a great place to live, along with many other places are great places to live. So I usually will never say it's the best place ever. So everybody has different likes and dislikes. So you're welcome to post any kind of question. One of the things I want to talk about tonight too was interest rates. And possibility, are interest rates going to go up? The short answer is, who knows? But there was a meeting by the Federal Reserve yesterday, and they are starting what they call their tapering. They are seeing a lot of inflation. Of course, consumers have seen the inflation for the last 4, 5, 6 months, whether you're going to the gas pump, you're going to the grocery store, rent, automobiles. Try buying a new vehicle. Very difficult. Try buying a used vehicle. You will pay top dollar. So yes, there is inflation. So they are seeing this inflation, and they are now a little bit nervous about it. So they are taking some action to combat rising inflation. And we'll see if it's going to work. What they're starting out to do. So they have been, if you're not aware, during the pandemic, they have been purchasing mortgage-backed securities to the tune of $120 billion. That's per month. So they're going to taper that back. And I thought they were going to probably do this like 3, 4, 5 months ago, but no, they're gonna taper that back a little bit. Not total, get rid of it, but they're going to taper that back, and they're hoping that that will help with some of the inflation. We'll wait and see. They're the experts. I'm not one of the experts, so my main concern typically is interest rates. Interest rates affect what I do for a job. So, and I think with higher interest rates, I will see a slowing of business. You're just going to price some people out of the market. So if we go from 3% to 4, 5, 6%, someone's payment could go from $1,800 to $2,000 to $2,500. I mean, it's just, I think it'll have an effect. So on the interest front, they're deciding right now not to do anything with the interest rate. The committee, they had like a split decision. Some of the members voted for no interest rate increase. There was actually half of them, and half of the committee members voted for an interest rate increase. So they were divided. Or the other half thought that they should at least have one interest rate hike. So not on a ladder system. So, and then half of them thought no interest rate hike. So right now they are just putting the brakes on that. They'll probably meet again next month, I would imagine, and see what the numbers look like and go from there. I like the lower interest rates. It has put, in my industry, a lot of people in homes that previously may not have had the opportunity to afford the payments at a higher rate. So I think it's been great. It's been great even for existing homeowners. There are people with 4, 5, 6, 7% interest rates, did refinancing job all the way down to say 3% or lower. So, I mean, what a great opportunity. What a great opportunity. I mean, I personally do not think, if we ever come out of these low interest rates, it might be a long, long time before we ever would see them come back down to that level again. But who knows? Anything could change. I've told this story a few times. So when I bought my first home, I was just below 9% interest. I think about like 8.75. And I refinanced over the years. And at one point I refinanced at 5%. And I literally was running out the door. I thought I was robbing the bank. I thought, oh my goodness, they don't realize what they've done. I got to take this and run with it. But looking back, 5% right now, most people would not pay 5%. And it was a great deal. It was a great deal. I went from like 8.75 down to 7, 6s, and finally down to like 5% at one time. And just thought that, never would I have imagined 3% loans. So that's where we're at. So at the moment, no interest rate changes. They're going to leave it the same. We'll see how the inflation goes and go from there. I follow some commodities from time to time, and one of them that I follow is steel. Steel prices are still at a record all-time high. We saw wood prices come down dramatically, took a huge drop. The other thing that affects the real estate industry can be steel prices. There's different forms of steel, especially like commercial development, and sometimes you get steel framing, but there's a variety of steel that's used in a home. Everything down to like the chicken wire you use on the side of a home. So I do follow those numbers, and they are still at an all-time high. Although this weekend, President Biden signed an agreement with the Europeans to take the tariff off of the imported steel from the European countries. But I believe they're going to leave the tariff on the steel that comes from China, which they call dirty steel. And it gets that name dirty steel because of some of the plants that they have in China that produces the steel. But anyways, I follow some of those real closely: wood prices, paint prices, and steel prices. And steel prices are still up. I was expecting them to drop. So good evening, Frank. Is the holiday season big business for you typically, or does Utah real estate sell better the summer and spring? Yeah. Summer and spring is the busiest by far. But I feel that from Thanksgiving through, say, the end of January is the best time to buy a house. The best time to buy a house. Or rephrase it to less competition to buy a house. So many people get focused on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and they literally put it on hold. I'm going to look for a home, or, after the holidays. And you could have the perfect home come across the market, and some people will be, nope, I'm just going to take a break and resume in January, February, March. And also the colder weather. There's a lot of times, and I've worked with many people during the winter months, and they're just like, nah, it's a little too cold, Mike, to go look at a house, or a little too cold, or I've got a holiday, or I got family coming in town, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's a great buying opportunity. So less competition. And when springtime comes, then a lot of people are eager to go out and look at homes. And the more people going through a home, potentially, the more offers on a home. But it does slow down. Statistically, it's not just Utah. It slows down around the country. So even when you get warmer climates like Florida, California, they see a slowdown also. I think in those states, mostly just because of everything that's going on between Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. A lot of people have plans, etc. They just don't want to think about purchasing a home. So, but I think it's a great buying opportunity. Really is. Great buying opportunity. Now, I have been spinning in my mind the fact that come December, if the Fed does decide a rate increase, I think that's going to spur the growth of the real estate market, and it will probably, you'll see an uptick. A lot of people will fear that the rates are going to keep going higher and higher, and they want to get in while they get a chance. So we may have a little bit of a bump during the winter months if they do bump the interest rates, and it makes it on the news. That's the other key thing. It would have to make it on the news and the local news. It's like a major news story or something like that. But if it's just bumped and it really doesn't hit the news, then I wouldn't see a jump in people looking for homes. So there is a city, there's a report that came out that there is a Utah city that ranks very high for millennial home ownership. And that would be, it's actually a metro area. It's what they refer to the Ogden to Clearfield metro area. Very high for millennial home ownership. So, and that's a survey throughout the whole United States. So that's great to know that a lot of millennials are purchasing homes, and one of the areas they are choosing is the Ogden Clearfield area. They are buying homes, townhomes, apartments, condos. Something else came up this week. It's election week. A lot of elections going on in the state of Utah. A lot of mayor races in the state of Utah. And some highly contested races. The city I live in, it's a small city, and it was a heated competition for mayor. It got ugly too. So, but see, here we are. Daniel, I'm from Minnesota, wanting to move to Utah. I am a professional driver. Can you help me find a house when I move over? I sure will, Dan. Reach out to me. I'll find you something I can. If you're in Minnesota at the moment, I can put you on a daily list of some new inventory that hits a particular area that you're looking at, and you'll get one email a day with your criteria, and we'll give you everything. You'll give you the address, the price, square footage. Pretty much, when people get that list from me, very few people call me on the phone and go, Mike, it doesn't list this or didn't list that. Gives photos, everything. So whatever photos have been provided from the selling agent, I should add. Sometimes it may be 4 or 5 photos, and sometimes it might be 30 or 40. But yeah, I can put you on that list. It's just hit your email once a day. We can choose an area, narrow, wide, townhome, single family home, et cetera, and give you an idea what is. People find it real handy too. Sometimes they'll take the address, go on Google Earth, beam them on the street, walk up and down the street, get an idea, Google Maps or whatever, where if they want to live close to, say, a Costco or a Sam's Club or something, or a particular gym, they can see, what the driving distance is and really learn a lot. So, yeah. Thanks for the videos, by the way. Very helpful. You're welcome. Appreciate it. Appreciate positive comment. It's always great. It's an interesting doing social media or doing. I had this conversation this afternoon. That's why it's on the top of my mind. Doing social media, any kind of social media, whether you're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, YouTube, whatever the platform. It's tough to put yourself out there. You get a lot of negative comments and hate mail and F you, and you don't know what you're talking about. And, especially when you do something like restaurants, and I'll tell people on my videos on the restaurants, like, these are my choices and my friends' choices. Also, I've put input, and I call people on the phone and say, hey, where do you eat at in this particular city? And where have I eaten at in this particular city? And it's just my own personal choice. And people, it's wrong. No, it's not the best. I'm like, hey, it's just my viewpoint. Just my viewpoint. Take my recommendation or not. But it's tough putting yourself out there, whether it's TikTok or whatever. You'll get some hate mail and hateful comments, and it's tough. I don't put my family members on any of my videos, and I've been asked for it from quite a few people. We'd like to meet your wife, etc., etc. Just can't. I don't mind the comments. I can take it. I've got thick skin, but But anyways, great. Appreciate the comment, though. It's kind of got off tangent a little bit there, but it comes with a downside. It also comes with a downside. I'll tell you a quick little story. This was hilarious. So I wasn't in the state of Utah. I was in Las Vegas. We went down to Las Vegas for an event. And so I was with my wife and with a couple other people, and we were eating at a place called Nacho Daddy. And they actually have one in Salt Lake City now. But the lady who was serving us, she said to me, she goes, I know you somewhere. I know you somewhere. And I'm thinking, no, you don't know me, lady. No, you don't know me. And very attractive young lady. And she kept, every time she come up, she kept saying, I know you. And I'm thinking, no, you do not know me. Because there's times that I've traveled to Vegas, like by myself. I have rental property in Vegas. So sometimes I go down, fix a water heater, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then towards the end, she goes, I know where I know you from. The YouTube videos. I was watching your YouTube videos, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness. That was almost an embarrassing moment. So, but had a good ending. It was kind of shocked me a little bit, being in another city, that somebody recognized you from YouTube. So you get it every once in a while in Utah, but I didn't expect it in Las Vegas. But anyways, election results this week. A lot of elections went on. One of the things that some of the cities are voting on in the state of Utah, we have what we call a rap tax, R-A-P, rap. And it doesn't have anything to do with rap music, but it is they call them rap programs, and I call it rap tax because to have the programs, there's a tax involved. But the money is intended to go towards recreation activities or recreational parks, arts, and also parks in general. And they hit the ballot from city to city when they try to raise money to new hiking trails, mountain bike trails, city parks, upgrading them, etc. So it showed that most of the cities that put the rap tax on the ballot, it actually passed. So the actual tax in most cities, it was 1/10 of a cent would go towards these particular recreational programs and parks, et cetera, et cetera. But cities like Kaysville was on the list. American Fork is on the list. South Weber is on the list. Highland, Lehigh, Springville, they all had on the ballot the RAP program tax initiative. And it passed. which I'm a big outdoor fan. So I enjoy when we can expand our recreational, our arts, and our parks. So, I mean, I go to quite a few beautiful parks. It's so I do like to see that. It's pretty much, in my opinion, growing Utah's. I feel the state of Utah, one of the top draws to the state of Utah is outdoor recreation. So, and this goes towards keeping or expanding outdoor recreation activities. So, all right. Currently live in Henderson, Nevada, looking to relocate to St. George. He's selling to St. George. We do cover St. George. I personally would not be showing you homes down there. I have somebody that works with me that handles all my St. George business. So great person. And sometimes we do work in teams sometimes. So I sometimes will help her with it. But yeah, we do know that market. St. George is a very popular market, retirement community. Great area. Henderson's a great area, though. I love Henderson. So very similar. If I had to do a little pros and cons, or let me just say con, weather-wise, during the winter months, what I've noticed between Las Vegas and George, you're approximately about 7 to 10 degree difference, as in 7 to 10 degrees warmer in Las Vegas than what it would be in St. George. So that's just in general. So what I've noticed when I've been down there. So, but yeah, great area. I think they're both great areas. Henderson's a great area. St. George, I also think is a great area. So, any more questions this evening? That's most of what I've got that's in the news. We have the tax and the Federal Reserve meeting to. It's about most of what's going on in the state of Utah. I can't think of much else news-wise in the state of Utah this week. We've had, I guess, not much really going on. We're still fighting the COVID. The numbers are actually not very good. Our hospital ICU rooms are full. Elective surgeries at the current moment are being put on hold from the hospitals. You basically, they're only doing surgeries on, critical patients. So it's about most of what's going on in the state of Utah. There was, I can't remember the whole article. I'm not going to say the whole thing. There was an article about Provo that something went on down there with the new Trump. The city got in a little bit of trouble with Trump's new social media platform. They made comments about it. What industries do you think are on the rise in northern Utah that most wouldn't think about? Well, I think what most people don't think about or know about will be the defense contractors by far. And a lot of that is for good reason, national security, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't work in them particular industries, you probably don't know what's going on. But the growth in that sector, I just driving by the base, Northrop Grumman, for instance, I think it's like 3 huge buildings going up right now. One of them might be complete. But the whole defense industry, a lot of business coming to Utah. Many companies, whether it's BAE Systems, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, a lot, and a lot of different programs. They got missile programs, the F-35, programs that I probably don't even know about, et cetera, et cetera. Huge amount of growth right there. The other thing that's a little bit of a surprise that some people aren't realizing is that there's a lot of talk about Silver Oaks, which is an area just north of Provo, Utah. We have a lot of big tech companies moving into that area. The new destination, or not the new destination, one destination they're also choosing is Ogden, Utah, basically due to real estate costs. Silicon Slope area has gotten very expensive. If you're one of the big guys, the Googles, the Micron companies like that are building multi-million-dollar buildings down there. But some of the smaller companies are choosing. Some of them are choosing Ogden, Utah now, are moving into that particular area. Real estate's a little bit cheaper, cost of living is a little bit cheaper, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. So that's one area right there that some people want me to. We will have more than 5,000 employees near Hill Air Force Base at Northrop. See, there you go, 5,000 employees. That's just one defense contractor. Just one defense contractor. So that growth is, a lot of people don't realize some of that. And I pretty much don't have an inside track on some of that, but I see some of it. But that is growing leaps and bounds. So I think a lot of it has to do with the F-35 program being one of the first bases that had an operational wing. There's the companies are putting a lot of money into that program and everything that goes with that airplane. You know, it's not just the airplane, it's the missiles that go with it and the radar systems and all these companies, you know, software, everything. They got some kind of fancy computer helmet that they fly with, kind of like a video game. You know, all those companies are growing and expanding all that technology. So that's what I see as some of the biggest growth that you know, you driving down the street, you see stuff like Amazon's building like crazy. You're seeing a lot of Amazon facilities. The west side of Salt Lake City, I see a lot of industrial buildings going up. Some of them are going up and not being filled. You see growth in those areas. And most of them all have company names on them, household names that you'd be familiar with. That wouldn't really be, I think, a big surprise for a lot of people, like the Amazon buildings. Not a huge surprise. They have that, what do they call that, last mile delivery or whatever. They're trying to build facilities everywhere they can. So. But I think in the defense industry, that is kind of a silent one that is growing that people aren't realizing. So, which is good. It's good for the state of Utah. I think it's fantastic. You know, for years there was complaints that a lot of the jobs in Utah, low-paying jobs, service jobs, but my goodness, with the defense contractors, the high-tech companies down in Silicon Slopes, the outdoor recreational companies that are calling Utah home. I mean, some of the best jobs in the country are being located right here in the state of Utah. So, what do you know about the development near Draper, Utah that will go in place of the prison that will be closing? Yes. So I know a little bit about that. There hasn't, as far as I know, there has not been a final determination made on that, but they're leaning real heavily towards a mixed usage development, homes and business. So, and I think that will be the final outcome if I had to take a guess at it. But that's what most of the plans that I've seen drawn up are for mixed use, commercial and housing. So probably about the best way to do it. And, you know, you could either go all housing or all commercial, or yeah, I think that's about the best way to do. And you know, I think it'll be great for. I think it'd be great for Draper. So if you live in Draper or plan on living in Draper, I think the one knock has always been about Draper, Utah is. Especially at like nighttime, depending where you live. The higher up you live up the mountain in Draper, you look out and you see the prison out there. So probably not the most beautiful sight for some people. And I also feel sometimes that some people, security wise, some people feel a little bit more nervous that, if people escape the prison and they're heading to Draper neighborhood, maybe security a little bit. Your family security might be compromised a little bit. So I think with the prison moving, it'll make Draper a better city. 100%, 100%, especially with, beautiful new commercial and homes going in there. I think the home values and the desired location of Draper will just increase. So that's kind of how I see it. So, and where they're putting the prison, I think is a great place. There's room to grow and expand. So, of course, I can remember back when the prison was there and Draper was just a small community, and it was kind of on its own in a sense, and that has all changed over the years. So Draper's a great area. Love Draper. I wish I could afford one of the homes or some homes in Draper. You go up the mountain and literally the homes are sitting on top of the mountain. You get like a day of inversion or whatever, you're above the inversion. And the view that you have north or south, as far as your eyesight can see. Beautiful, beautiful location. Beautiful. I've been in some of the homes that where literally you have no neighbors behind you. It's just a mountainside drop straight down. So it's very, very nice. And it comes at a cost. It does come at a cost. So, but very, very nice. Mr. Z, Snowbird had customer appreciation days last Saturday and Sunday. Bring 3 canned foods and get a tram ticket. It was a great time. Wow, that is a great deal because Snowbird is a premium resort. That is a great deal. Great, great deal. I didn't hear about that deal. Actually, I am surprised, but it's a great deal. Snowbird is beautiful. It's a great area. So, did they have much snow up there at the time? A couple weeks ago, they had some snow up there, but I didn't know if some of it melted over the last week. But and I'm not too sure if they're cranking up the snowmaking equipment yet or not. So I've heard a couple of the ski resorts are, we're getting there. Second or third week of November, they were going to try to make some snow. It was ice cold, enough snow to ski on. Okay, cool. Snowbird's a great place. Great place. Any more questions this evening? Comments about the state of Utah, what's going on? Before I call it an evening here, well, I'm going to call it an evening, and I will be back again next week at the same time. Thank you.